Why your diet isn't working after 35 and what to do instead. Episode 1, the Midlife Metabolism Reset, titled, Why Your Diet Isn't Working After 35 and What to Do Instead. Subtitle, Unlocking the Science of Midlife Weight Loss, Hormones, Metabolism, and Sustainable Change. Welcome to the Wellness Compass, your guide to navigating a healthier, happier life. I'm your host, ARCHDANY. I have a scientific background with molecular work in DNA plasmid therapy. We will dive deep into the why behind health trends, and today we're tackling a topic that hits home for so many of us, especially as we move into our mid-30s and beyond. Why the weight loss strategies that once worked just don't anymore. The Wellness Compass is hosted at ARCHDANY-SMPB.TECH Teaching and Training Media, where we educate on wealth principles and application of God's Word for wealth generation. Key statistics and citations. Obesity prevalence. Over 42% of U.S. adults are obese, with the highest increases among those aged 35 to 55. Dieting trends. 1% of Americans try to lose weight each year. 80% of weight lost by special diets is regained within 5 years. Muscle loss. Adults lose 3 to 8% of muscle mass per decade after age 30. Strength loss accelerates after 50. Insulin resistance. Global prevalence in adults is 26 to 38%, rising with age and higher in women after 35. Sleep and weight. Chronic sleep deprivation increases obesity risk by 38% and disrupts appetite hormones. Diet failure. 40% of dieters regain more weight than they lost. Only 12% maintain 75% of weight loss after 3 years. Emotional eating. Nearly 8% of women over 40 meet criteria for an eating disorder. Emotional eating and diet culture are major midlife challenges. 1. Introduction. Have you ever wondered why your go-to diet just stopped working after 35? Maybe you're eating cleaner than ever, hitting the gym, and still watching the scale creep up, or worse, feeling like your body is working against you. If you're frustrated, confused, or even blaming yourself, you're not alone. In today's episode, we'll uncover the real reasons diets often fail after 35. And more importantly, what you can do instead. We'll break down the science of midlife metabolism, hormones, and lifestyle, and give you a practical, research-backed step you can take today to start seeing results. Let's get started. 2. The core subject. Why does this topic matter so much? Because the struggle is real, and it's not just about willpower or discipline. Nearly half of American adults try to lose weight each year, and more than 80% of those who lose weight on a diet regain it within 5 years. For women and men over 35, the challenge is even greater. The CDC reports that obesity rates are highest among adults aged 35 to 55, and the fastest growing group of new diabetes diagnoses is in this age bracket. But here's the kicker. Most traditional diet advice, eat less, move more, ignores the profound physiological, hormonal, and lifestyle changes that happen after 35. If you've noticed that what worked in your 20s and early 30s just doesn't cut it anymore, you're not imagining things. Your metabolism, muscle mass, hormones, sleep, stress, and even your gut health are all shifting in ways that make weight loss harder and rebound weight gain more likely. This episode is for you if you've ever said, "I'm doing everything right, but nothing's working. Why is all my weight going to my belly? I'm exhausted, stressed, and my cravings are out of control. I just want to feel like myself again." We'll unpack the science, bust some myths, and most importantly, show you how to work with your changing body, not against it. 3. Detail approach and required steps overview. Let's dive into the 3 biggest evidence-based reasons diets often stop working after 35 and what you can do about each one. We'll explore 1. Physiological and hormonal changes, how muscle loss, metabolic slowdown, and shifting hormones sabotage weight loss. 2. Lifestyle and psychological factors, why stress, sleep, time constraints, and emotional eating become bigger barriers in midlife. 3. Metabolic adaptation and diet history, how years of dieting, inflammation, and gut health changes make your body more resistant to weight loss. Each point is grounded in current research, statistics, and expert insights. 3. 1. Physiological and hormonal changes after 35A, muscle loss and metabolic slowdown. Starting as early as age 30, we begin to lose muscle mass at a rate of 3 to 8% per decade, with strength loss accelerating after 50. Muscle is metabolically active tissue. It burns calories even at rest. As muscle declines, so does your resting metabolic rate. That means you burn fewer calories doing the same activities, and even eating the same foods as before can lead to weight gain. Key data. Resting metabolism drops by about 2 to 3% per decade after age 30. Impact. Less muscle, slower metabolism, easier fat gain, especially if activity levels drop. B. Hormonal shifts. Estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, thyroid, and cortisol. After 35, both women and experience significant hormonal changes. Women, estrogen and progesterone begin to fluctuate, often years before menopause. Estrogen decline shifts fat storage from hips and thighs to the abdomen, increases insulin resistance, and reduces muscle support. Progesterone drops first, impacting sleep, mood, and water balance. Men, testosterone declines gradually, affecting muscle retention, energy, and fat distribution. Thyroid, even mild thyroid imbalances can slow metabolism, cause fatigue, and make weight management difficult. Up to 1 in 8 women will develop a thyroid disorder, most after age 35. Cortisol. Chronic stress elevates cortisol, which increases abdominal fat, disrupts sleep, and triggers cravings. See insulin resistance and blood sugar regulation. Insulin resistance, IR, increases with age, especially after 35. IR means your cells don't respond as well to insulin, making it harder to regulate blood sugar and burn fat. The global prevalence of IR in adults is 26 to 38%, and it's higher in women after 35. Signs include belly fat, fatigue after meals, and difficulty losing weight. Key data. In the U.S., IR prevalence rose from 24.8% to 38.4% between 1999 and 2018, with the sharpest increases in women and non-Hispanic Asians. D. Gut health, inflammation, and the microbiome. The gut microbiome changes with age, diet, and lifestyle. After 35, diversity often declines, and shifts in gut bacteria can promote inflammation, insulin resistance, and weight gain. Obesity and age-related diseases are linked to a less diverse, more pro-inflammatory gut microbiome. Key data. Studies show that beneficial bacteria like Akkermansia and Faecalibacterium decline with age and obesity, while pro-inflammatory species increase. E. Sarcopenia and functional decline. Sarcopenia, the progressive loss of muscle mass and strength, affects up to 11% of men and 9% of women over 60, but begins much earlier. It increases the risk of falls, fractures, and loss of independence, and is closely tied to metabolic health. Summary table. Physiological and hormonal changes after 35 factor change. After 35, impact on weight loss. Key statistic insight. Muscle mass 3-8% loss per decade, slower metabolism, easier fat gain, strength loss 2 to 5x faster than muscle. Estrogen progesterone decline fluctuation. Belly fat, insulin resistance, cravings. Perimenopause can start at 35 to 38. Testosterone, gradual decline, men, women. Less muscle, lower energy, affects both genders. Thyroid, subtle dysfunction increases fatigue, weight gain, slow metabolism. 1 in 8 women develop thyroid disorder. Cortisol, chronic elevation, belly fat, cravings, poor sleep. Stress increases with midlife demands. Insulin resistance increases with age. Harder to burn fat, more cravings. 26 to 38% prevalence in adults. Gut microbiome, diversity declines, inflammation, metabolic dysfunction, linked to obesity, aging, diabetes. Elaboration. These physiological and hormonal changes create a perfect storm for weight gain and diet resistance after 35. The loss of muscle mass reduces calorie burn, while hormonal shifts increase fat storage, especially around the midsection. Insulin resistance and gut dysbiosis further impair metabolism and promote inflammation. Traditional diets that focus only on calories or restrict entire food groups often ignore these underlying changes, leading to frustration and rebound weight gain. Lifestyle and psychological factors. A. Sleep deprivation and circadian disruption. Adults over 35 are sleeping 20% less on average than 40 years ago. Sleep deprivation disrupts appetite hormones, ghrelin and leptin, increases cravings, and raises cortisol. One bad night of sleep can increase appetite by up to 22% the next day. Key data. Chronic sleep deprivation increases obesity risk by 38% and is linked to higher rates of insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. Mechanism. Poor sleep increases ghrelin, hunger hormone, decreases leptin, satiety hormone, and raises cortisol, leading to more cravings and fat storage. B. Stress, time constraints, and emotional eating. Midlife often brings peak career demands, caregiving for children and aging parents, and less time for self-care. Chronic stress elevates cortisol, which not only increases belly fat, but also drives emotional eating and cravings for high-sugar, high-fat foods. Emotional eating. Emotional eating and stress eating are common coping mechanisms in midlife, especially for women. Nearly 8% of women over 40 meet criteria for an eating disorder, and many more struggle with disordered eating patterns. Diet culture and motivation. Years of dieting can erode motivation and self-trust, leading to cycles of restriction, guilt, and rebound eating. See activity levels and sedentariness. Sedentary jobs and long commutes reduce daily activity, compounding the effects of muscle loss and metabolic slowdown. Regular exercise, especially strength training, is often deprioritized due to time constraints or gym anxiety. D. Social and environmental barriers. Access to healthy foods, safe spaces for exercise, and supportive social networks can vary by socioeconomic status, race, and geography. These factors influence both diet quality and the ability to sustain healthy habits. Summary table: lifestyle and psychological barriers factor common midlife challenge, impact on weight loss. Key statistic insight: sleep less than 7 hours night, more cravings, higher cortisol, 38% higher obesity risk. Stress. Chronic multi-source, belly fat, emotional eating. Cortisol spikes drive fat storage, emotional eating. Coping with stress, anxiety, binge restrict cycles, weight regain. 8% of women 40 plus have eating disorders. Sedentariness, desk jobs, long commutes, lower muscle, slower metabolism. Activity drops after 35. Social barriers, food deserts, lack of support, harder to sustain healthy habits. Disparities by income, race, location. Elaboration. Lifestyle and psychological factors are often the hidden saboteurs of midlife weight loss. Sleep deprivation, chronic stress, and emotional eating create a hormonal environment that favors fat storage and undermines willpower. Sedentariness accelerates muscle loss, while social and environmental barriers make healthy choices harder to sustain. Addressing these factors is as important as diet and exercise for long-term success. If you have listened this far, we really appreciate your time. Please subscribe, like, and share with others who can benefit from this information. 3. Metabolic adaptation, diet history, and chronic inflammation. A. Metabolic adaptation from chronic dieting. Repeated cycles of dieting and weight regain, known as weight cycling or yo-yo dieting, can damage metabolism, increase fat storage, and make future weight loss harder. Each time you lose and regain weight, your body becomes more efficient at storing fat and less responsive to calorie deficits. Key data: 80% of weight lost by special diets is regained within 5 years. 40% of dieters regain more weight than they lost. Mechanism: weight cycling increases central fat deposition, reduces muscle mass, and enhances inflammatory responses in adipose tissue. B. Chronic inflammation and gut health. Obesity and weight cycling promote chronic, low-grade inflammation, which disrupts hormone signaling, increases insulin resistance, and impairs appetite regulation. The gut microbiome plays a key role. Reduced diversity and increased pro-inflammatory bacteria are linked to metabolic dysfunction and aging. Key data: in postmenopausal women, weight gain is associated with increased inflammatory markers, CRP, IL-6, TNF-alpha, and metabolic dysregulation. Gut microbiome: age-related declines in beneficial bacteria, e.g. Akkermansia, Faecalibacterium, and increases in harmful species promote inflammation and weight gain. C. Risks of extreme diets and supplements. Extreme calorie restriction, fad diets, and unregulated supplements can worsen hormonal imbalances, increase stress, and promote rebound weight gain. Many weight loss supplements are ineffective or even harmful, especially in midlife. Key data: 1 in 3 American dieters uses dietary supplements for weight loss, but most are not evidence-based and can disrupt metabolism or interact with medications. Summary table: metabolic adaptation and inflammation factor effect on body, impact on weight loss. Key statistic insight: weight cycling, fat regain, muscle loss, harder to lose weight, more rebound, 80% regain lost weight in 5 years, chronic inflammation, disrupted hormones, IR, slower metabolism, more cravings, elevated CRP, IL-6, TNF-alpha, gut dysbiosis, reduced diversity, more toxins, insulin resistance, fat storage, linked to obesity, aging, diabetes. Extreme diets, hormonal disruption, stress, rebound weight gain, health risks. 1 in 3 use supplements, many unsafe. Elaboration: years of dieting, especially restrictive or fad diets, can teach your body to resist weight loss by slowing metabolism and increasing fat storage. Chronic inflammation and gut dysbiosis further impair metabolic health, making traditional calorie-focused approaches less effective. Sustainable change requires healing metabolism, supporting gut health, and breaking the cycle of restriction and rebound. 3. Additional factors: medical evaluation and testing. Many midlife weight struggles are compounded by undiagnosed medical issues. Thyroid dysfunction. Subtle thyroid imbalances are common after 35, especially in women, and often missed by standard tests. Comprehensive panels, TSH-free T3, T4 antibodies are recommended. Insulin resistance. Fasting insulin and hemoglobin A1C can reveal early metabolic dysfunction before diabetes develops. Hormone panels. Estradiol, progesterone, testosterone, and DHEA levels fluctuate in perimenopause and menopause, impacting metabolism, mood, and energy. Inflammation markers. HSCRP and other markers can indicate chronic inflammation, which impairs weight loss. Gut health testing. Stool tests, e.g. IMAP, can identify dysbiosis, leaky gut, or inflammation affecting metabolism and hormone clearance. Actionable tip: if you're struggling despite healthy habits, advocate for comprehensive testing with your provider. Don't settle for your labs are normal if you don't feel normal. 3.5. Evidence-based interventions. What actually works after 35? A. Prioritize strength training. Strength training 2 to 3 times per week is the most effective way to preserve and build muscle, boost metabolism, and improve insulin sensitivity after 35. Key data: protein supplementation plus resistance training increases muscle mass and strength, even in adults over 65. Practical tip: focus on compound lifts, squats, deadlifts, presses. Aim for 8 to 12 reps per set and progressively increase resistance. B. Eat enough protein. Consistently higher protein intake, 2.0 gram/kilogram body weight per day, supports muscle maintenance, satiety, and metabolic health in midlife. Key data: most women and men over 35 need 25 to 35 grams of protein per meal, spaced throughout the day. Practical tip: include protein at every meal: eggs, Greek yogurt, lean meats, legumes, or tofu. C. Optimize sleep and stress management. Prioritize 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night and use stress reduction techniques, mindfulness, yoga, walking, to lower cortisol and support metabolic health. Key data: one bad night of sleep can increase appetite by 22% the next day. Chronic stress raises cortisol and belly fat. D. Support gut health. Eat a diverse, fiber-rich diet, vegetables, fruits, whole grains, legumes, to nourish beneficial gut bacteria. Consider probiotics or fermented foods if appropriate. Key data: Mediterranean-style diets improve gut diversity and reduce inflammation. Probiotic supplementation can support weight loss and muscle strength in older adults. E. Avoid extreme diets and supplements. Focus on balanced, sustainable nutrition rather than restriction or quick fixes. Avoid unregulated weight loss supplements, which can disrupt hormones and metabolism. Personalize your approach. Work with a healthcare provider or functional medicine practitioner to tailor nutrition, exercise, and lifestyle strategies to your unique hormonal and metabolic profile. 4. Action step: 1 to 3 minutes. Ready for a change? You can start today. Here's one research-backed action step. Add 1 strength training session and 1 high-protein meal to your week. Why strength training? It's the single most effective way to preserve muscle, boost metabolism, and improve insulin sensitivity after 35. Why protein? Consistent, adequate protein intake, 25 to 35 grams per meal, supports muscle repair, satiety, and metabolic health. How to start? Block 30 minutes for a simple strength workout: bodyweight squats, push-ups, lunges, or use resistance bands or dumbbells. Plan 1 meal with at least 30 grams of protein. Think grilled chicken with veggies, a tofu stir-fry, or a Greek yogurt parfait with nuts and berries. Bonus: tonight, aim for 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Notice how your energy, cravings, and mood shift over the next few days. Remember, small, consistent changes, especially those that support muscle, metabolism, and recovery, are far more effective than drastic diets or quick fixes. Your body after 35 needs a new approach, and you deserve strategies that work with your biology, not against it. If you have listened this far, we really appreciate your time. Please subscribe, like, and share with others who can benefit from this information. 5. Soft CTA, 1 to 2 minutes. If today's episode resonated with you, don't stop here. Subscribe to our premium feed for exclusive deep dives, expert interviews, and personalized Q&A sessions. Or if you're ready to take the next step, join our Midlife Metabolism Reset program, a science-backed, community-supported journey to reclaim your energy, confidence, and health after 35. Want a free resource to get started? Download our Midlife Metabolism Checklist, a simple, research-backed guide to the labs, habits, and strategies that matter most after 35. You'll find the link in the show notes. Remember, you're not broken and you're not alone. Your body is changing, but with the right knowledge and support, you can thrive in this new chapter. Subscribe, join our community, and let's rewrite your health story together. Potential follow-up episode titles for a mini-series. The hormone havoc after 35, what's really going on? Metabolism myths, why you're not losing weight in midlife. Gut check, how your microbiome changes after 40. Sleep, stress, and the scale, the midlife connection. Breaking up with diet culture in your 40s. Strength over skinny, why muscle matters more than ever. The truth about hormone replacement therapy. Emotional eating and motivation in midlife. The midlife medical checklist, what to ask your doctor. Supplements, scams, and science, what works after 35. Final thoughts. If you've been blaming yourself for stalled progress or feeling stuck in a cycle of diets that don't deliver, it's time for a new story. Your body after 35 is different, and that's not a flaw, it's a fact. By understanding the science of midlife metabolism, hormones, and lifestyle, you can finally break free from frustration and find strategies that work for you. Remember, sustainable change is possible, and you're not alone on this journey. Subscribe, connect, and let's thrive together. End of episode 1, Why Your Diet Isn't Working After 35, and What to Do Instead. Before we wrap up today's episode, I want to leave you with this. If this conversation spoke to you, make sure you like, subscribe, and share this show with someone who needs it. This podcast is proudly brought to you by ARCHDANY-SMPB.TECH, that's social media power boost, your partner in building powerful, professional podcast components that elevate your voice. At ARCHDANY, we believe your message deserves excellence, clarity, and reach. And the truth is, you don't have to wait for the perfect moment. You can begin creating today. We're here to help you shape content that transforms lives and positions you for real impact. So stay connected, stay inspired, and keep stepping into your God-given potential. Your voice matters, and we're honored to help you amplify it. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode. Why Your Diet Isn't Working After 35 and What to Do Instead. Episode 1, The Midlife Metabolism Reset, titled, Why Your Diet Isn't Working After 35 and What to Do Instead. Subtitle, Unlocking the Science of Midlife Weight Loss, Hormones, Metabolism, and Sustainable Change. Welcome to the Wellness Compass, your guide to navigating a healthier, happier life. I'm your host, ARCHDANY. I have a scientific